Okay, okay, hang on. We have noticed a problem. Hello, hello, and welcome. Um, oh, for fudge sake. Well, this is supposed to be plugged in. Now that one plugs into that one. Okay. Come loose. Okay. Okay, that should. All right. Hang on. It's the ad break. 19 seconds. Okay. All right. Tick-tock. 10 seconds. And then we'll have the ad break over. Alright, welcome back everyone. Hi, my name is Tolly. So, we had a bit of a sound issue. This is why you like having friends in chat, is because friends in chat can help you diagnose problems. And, like, your sound isn't on. So actually, I need to check something, because I had to, my main microphone, turns out the microphone just wasn't working. I'm using a backup mic right now. This one knobs. Here we go. Let me see. Okay, so let's see about this. We add, I just want to test something. Audio input capture. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be a hot mess for half a second, okay? Bear with me. Boom. Okay, there we go. Sorry, this is the new mic. What we want down a little bit. Yeah, lower the gain. Sorry, it doesn't, the gain knob on my mic does not show, here. There we go. The gain yes, the gain knob on my mic does not show if it goes up or down. So I put little arrows, I drew little arrows in Sharpie to say that. I switched my mic back to the actual one. It actually, when I went to, sometimes the computer's the one throwing a hissy fit, so you just have to re-add it. And sometimes it's the mic itself, and you have to plug it out. Pull the USB and plug it back in again. But yes, welcome on in. So, tech issues. It's not a stream without tech issues. My name is still Lee, in case you missed the introduction earlier. I stream all sorts of stuff, but today is Greyhawk Day because it's Wednesday, and it used to be Good Morning Greyhawk on Monday mornings, and that is, not really a good time for things. Like, Monday mornings are just, so I was like, alright, well, why don't we do Wednesday afternoons instead? So I kind of transferred it over to Wednesday afternoon, and I've been on Wednesday afternoons for over a year now, I think. Pretty close to. There's a lot of back episodes, sort of, up. A lot of the early episodes are up on YouTube. And a couple of the more recent ones, because when you put episodes up on YouTube now, it automatically puts them as public, instead of automatically putting them as private, and you have to go through and make them public, which I don't think I like, but I also had, I'm just in a rush to get them up before Twitch auto-deletes them, so yeah. That I keep forgetting that. Yeah, Twitch auto-deletes stuff after a certain time frame, so you have to get it up onto a, another platform. I think they used to have a workaround with highlights, but now that doesn't work, so, I just have been putting it up on YouTube. Yeah. So if you want to see the very early episodes, you can go to YouTube and do that. From like years ago. Yeah, from 2023, I think I got most of the ones from 2023 up, so that's fun. But, needless to say, let's get to actual Greyhawk stuff. Okay. So, I gave this whole explanation before, but this is the Greyhawk Wiki. Great Library of Greyhawk. Kit, who is in the chat, is really big, and she does all the editing and stuffs, and is generally really cool. So, we go to place and time and thing. Okay. I have a list on my Discord that I have a whole channel of Greyhawk stuff, and I pin every day at the end of the stream, I pin, hey, what are we doing next episode? Next week. Karlach, Zitches, and more Roxas. Okay. Karluk. Karulk. I feel like I keep wanting to pronounce that wrong. So let's see. Roxas. So let's see. This section. No. I don't want an AI summary. I want to actually read the details. Please. 28. Oh, that's where the picture of the map is. There we go. Roxas in the land of the Overking. Flood, disease, treason. Key location details. Temper of Bakab. Palsy. Yes, who is the actual demon and is in demon form using she, her pronouns, but in fake god form uses him. So that's funny little tidbit. Let's see. Foltus, Hextor, Captain's Quarters. Okay, so we've been going through here. Temper of Zilchis. Okay, Hextor, Foltus. We've been going through this. I think, oh, you can't see this, I realize. Other thing is I can only show one at a time, so usually I put one for the other, and then I can do that. Hi, Twy, welcome, happy Pride. It is, oh yeah, it is, what is it, Alphabet Mafia Month. That's my preferred overall term. Queer is, it has an interesting history. The more you learn about the history, the less, slurry it sounds, but still, Alphabet Mafia is fun. Anyway, yes, it is June. Marsha P. Johnson did a really cool thing, and got her in a lot of trouble, but, that's why we have Pride in June. In this country. Different other places in the world, it's other times, and some of the southern states go early, later in, the fall, because it's so hot in June, which actually makes a lot of sense. But, this weekend is Nyack, so that's fun. A little bit of commercial festival, but rainbow capitalism is, it's a good bellwether of, hey, yeah, no, Greyhawk, the alphabet soup, the acronym, yeah, the extra acronyms are a lot, but that's why I like Alphabet Mafia, because it kind of, you don't have to spell out all the letters. Sorry. Yes, Greyhawk time. Fun story. Okay. Support buildings. Okay, so what we have here is the way they listed it here was that, if you go get this other map, and you have all this stuff marked on the map, you can, it's showing the, basically with this. So, what we were doing, I'll mention on the Discord later, but, okay, what we're doing is jiggy stuff. So, we were going through Roxas and the land of the Overking. That was our area. So in Roxas, they have, okay, let's start with Karluk, because we were going through Roxas, the general page, and let's start with, yes, Roxas. So we were doing Roxas and going through, they had the history section, we had some pre and follow Roxas, which is a nice little, let's see, cityscape. So, compound only a few dozen ways from the stood Temple of Balsy, okay, here's a question. Well, no, because it was situated Ivid's Road. We did past tense. Should it be present tense? That's a good question. Should we use past, because it did get domed. Late 576. Death rate was skyrocketing time. The outbreak of the Red Death. Ooh, exceeded the birth rate by 5%. Exposed to carrier contracted the disease. Ooh, that's a nasty rate of stuff. Oh, wow, there's whole... Someone has been working on this. Hang on. Where is it? Someone's been... I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That is definitely... Abra Sagast, that's Kit, and that's me. So, rephrasing for clarity accurate. Moving category, it's added by the template. You're removing, okay... Editing for rephrasing for clarity and accuracy. Okay. Huh. Maybe I just didn't know, what... Huh. Interesting. Okay. I guess maybe I just didn't remember that part. Because it seems like someone was adding. Let's see. Greyhawk War is posted. We have the population, demographics, notable individuals. Menace Carcosa, religion, hidden or disguised, Temple of Archbean, Balzaphon, looking as ballsy, barely concealed guise as a guide of prosperity. Yes, heavily taxed. The point is a punishable crime. Somewhat contrary to the oppression, Temple to Bukhab, yes, is found in the city. Several factors can temple be tolerated. Okay, yes, so there's that temple, and then, oh, right, there's the Temple to Zilchus. Okay, yes, that makes sense. Because I was like, I did not remember the Red Death being on this page, but, I also know your editing style tends to be a lot of editing, and then save it at the very end. Mine is like save every few sentences or two just to be sure. Okay, but there's the religion section. Oh right, we're gonna do notable individuals. I think. Let's see. We're going through religion, and we're gonna go to Temple of Zilchus. I remember this. Hang on. What happened to Temple of Zilchus? That was what we were gonna do. I think. I remember reading about it on this, and then we were gonna add it to the wiki now, and let's see. Temple of Barracks of the Black Legion, Temple of Hextor. Yeah, they have the Temple of Hextor. Hang on. Temple of Hextor is in the, is that Cityscape? Tower of the Dead. Population, demographics. There's also, hang on. No direct threat to peace of Hextors and the like. Right. Okay. That Zilchus. So there was a temple. Was it Zilchus? Yeah, it was. The Temple of Zilchus. Themselves. While they don't actively oppose of it, they simply withdrew their presence. The temple has not been looted, but most of its wealth. On the hand of Acolyte's temple, the bribed town guard. Okay, yes. Okay, so the Temple of Zilchus is still up there. They just do not do anything publicly, so they have, and bribe the town guard, so everyone just leaves them alone. What was the one that was destroyed? Right, Temple of Hextor is still up because Tower of the Dead. There was one that got Karluk, Palace of the Overking, Temple of the Fiend Knights. There was one temple that got completely... Foltus, that was the one. Slain and raised as undead, Pack of Ghouls. Right. Okay, so I'm going to start with... Because we have a lot of interesting things here. Yes. And it's not in Cityscape. That's the thing about the Cityscape is that it has all these things, and it would be helpful... the Istis map, apparently came with another box set that, they was like, oh, well, if you have the Istis map, this is all the extra details about this stuff in there. And I'm like, that's cool. I don't have the Istis map. But I'm sure I could find a copy somewhere, or someone would have a copy they were willing to let me look at, I will say. Okay. Edit source. Let's see. Pose the regime. There was also to Zilchus, who I believe is one of the winds, right? Zilchus, if I recall correctly, let me just make sure I'm spelling it right. So the link goes through Zilchus, yes. Would help if I put the, yes. If I recall correctly, Zilchus is one of the winds. Yes. Who, which, that operated, in the city, despite, okay, because I don't know if Zilchus was a, let's see. Okay, so Ballsy's, before Ballsy's faith was proclaimed, let's see. Right. Let's see. Okay. Mutant. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I don't. I don't know if there was a temple. It is in fact. I don't think it is. Because I use the settlement so often. I've never seen that. That doesn't mean people don't add it, but I don't think I've ever seen it in the template. As one that comes up automatically. But I was gonna maybe. I could put it as a subheader in the cityscape as well. I feel like it goes under religion though. Like, okay, this is the gods people worship because, like if there are two synagogues in your town, it's kind of there was in my town growing up. It's more like this is indicative of the kind of people who live in the town. Possibly. That is quite possibly a thing. Where I could be misremembering the settlement template. I mean, I used it fairly often, but rarely the deities one. Although there is a deity who doesn't have a lot of info. I need to find a source from you, because one of my DM is actually wanting to play with that deity and have like followers, and there's no information in the Greyhawk wiki. And I was like, I am in charge of the Greyhawk wiki. I could fix that for you. I will have to remember to message you about that. Let's see. Yeah, but I was gonna saying what temples were and weren't in a city kind of, I would imagine, kind of gives a picture of what kind of religious yes. Yeah, so that's why I've been putting it in the religion section. If the temple itself was like notably architecturally or like a focal point for the city otherwise, I might add it in cityscape, but for just it exists in the city and this is what happened to it, I think that's more of a worshipy, like kind of an indication of religious tolerance in the town, if that makes sense. Despite the operating in the city before the faith of Ballsy, was declared. The faith of Ballsy declared is the wrong word. Was yes. How does it put in here? How about that? Temple of Baka, Ballsy. Um, I guess Ivid. How do we put? Okay. Proclaimed by Ivid. I guess proclaimed. Before the faith of Ballsy was proclaimed, and the temple managed to avoid being destroyed. I'll say. Yeah, the Temple of Foltus was not, yeah, they definitely were doing violence against buildings of religions they didn't like, because that's, a thing that happens. Okay, most of the 12th have been quietly shipped out of Roxas. Only a handful of acolytes remain to keep the temple from complete ruin. Bribe the town guard. Princeling of House Darman. Oh, hang on. That's interesting. Now, Darman is... if it is of House Nalix, I know that much. And, yeah, if it is of House Nalix, but Darman, the new Overking who took over after Ivid was... Ivid got kind of killed, allegedly. Still not clear if he, like, actually died or they just declared him no longer king. It was very... That part of the history was kind of erased, but no one knows if he died because he was already dead. I think was already dead. Technically dead. But if I recall correctly, but that's a whole other thing. Managed to avoid being destroyed by voluntarily shutting down. Down services. Services. They quietly... they got away with... Hang on, let's see. Quietly shipping most of the temple's wealth, assets out of the city, and leaving only a few acolytes to upkeep the temple, to maintain the building itself. By bribing the town guard. I think that's the town guard. And having the acolytes left behind be minor Darman princelings. Darman princelings. Princelings of House Darman. I think that is how you spell princelings. It's just not a... Okay, make sure we spell... Okay, Darman, I think, no, hang on. There is a precedent for the linking it, right? You link it to the main, there's a redirect. Hang on. Maybe either there's a redirect or it's, Prince... Okay, let's see if... Let me open this up. Zilchus. Prince... Okay, there is an E in Princelings. Princelings. It's still not recognized as a word, but, Princelings. Yeah, of House Darman. Yep, Darman. Okay. So hang on. There was... Let's see. Okay, cite source. The first thing we do is cite our source for this one. Cite source book. It is Ivid. Undying, and page number is 30. Okay. Boom. Beautiful. Okay. Temple to Zilchus. Boom. Publish change. Okay. Now, what I want to know is, we're getting there. Darman, yep, that one is a, oh yeah, it is a redirect. Okay, Celestial Houses of Erdi, redirected, oh, but it does redirect, so we can just put it, because it redirects, hang on, because it redirects, what we can do is go to Roxas, and go to here, Cityscape Geography, Population, Religion, here we go, and edit, here we go, ready, we can put House Darman, actually, we can just do this, you ready? We're gonna be really clever. And we can go preview. And this is very helpful. Yep, it worked. Okay. That is actually help. Now that you can get the preview in a split window, it's actually quite helpful. So before, here, I'll show you guys. This is the matter of which one you put forward. Okay, so before, it has this preview thing. Before, the preview would open in a separate page, so it was easier just to hit save, and then if it was wrong and it looked weird, you could just go back and edit it again, undo it, right? But having it open another page is actually helpful for that. But just mostly for checking if your links work. Because adding link. Yeep. Minor edit. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm trying to be better about saying if things are minor edits rather than major edits. Okay. So, follow rock system. Okay. If it's road, this one is Fate of Istis. Also within the main palace grounds, Temple of Hextor. Yes. Okay, church records. Monies and the like. Guards the unholy bloodshed, which is Temple's most prized. Blood shield. Unholy blood shield. Okay. So, alright, so I'm thinking, yes. The only possible exemption is, I'm gonna say that I don't know if, the one religion I'm gonna say it managed to find a way around it, whether it was just that all of the companion guards are like the priest of Hextor are rich, powerful people that can just pay the tax, or whether it's unclear whether they actually tax the priest of Hextor, which has its own temple on the palace grounds, or whether they do that. But I'm gonna put that in the religion section, I think. Right, and then we'll put in the cityscape. Temple of Ballsy, as well as the Temple of Hextor, and then Tower of the Knights of Doom. And I'm not sure about Karluk's Tower, because that one is the Temple of the Court Wizard who killed the other Court Wizard, because drama. That's another thing we're gonna do, because there's just so much religion in Roxas. There is religious drama, because of course there is. If you have a lot of gods, you have religious drama, and it's fun. Okay, I'm gonna do that here. The one which, Fate of Istis. Okay. Okay, the one religion that managed to get around it. Okay, I'm gonna keep it in. I'm gonna say is the temple was operated. Okay. Is found. Okay, there is a temple to Bakab, because they don't feel like shutting it down with the priests being, and they're not good aligned, so whatever. I'm gonna say Zilchus, because there was also the Fultus, and the priests that got there. Okay, let's go edit source. Because they found a way around that. I don't know if that was because they just paid, take the preview out. Okay, here we go. The only religion that managed to find a way around this was the worshippers of Hextor. We're gonna, I don't know if he's put as later or so it's just princelings. Hextor Bakab. extra. Okay, we're gonna take that out. We're gonna put this here. Do this, and then we're gonna go up. Yep. Okay. Because historical significance, being the official religion of the Great Kingdom for centuries before, for centuries. Yeah, it was the official religion for centuries, and still had a lot of high priests who were in, and much of the administration being there, the high priests of Exeter, and with a lot of their administrative still being built into that, and a lot of his advisors were worshippers, and the companion guards. The town guards had to worship Halsey, but the companion guards were allowed to keep Hextor, so that's interesting. I think today is just going to be... I don't know if we'll ever get to Karluk. I will get his name right eventually, when I write the wiki article for him. But, in the meantime, I've been working him for centuries, and with its high priest, with his high priest, I think his, right? Hextor is a deity, so his with a capital H. Acting as administrators, 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 yeah, right. Sorry. Many of the in most of the yeah, most of the provinces, in many of the provinces, yep, it was the official, yeah, church and state were like this with Hextor, and then Balsy came up, but they still had a lot of the, they were, he didn't shut them down, which pretty good. That the companion guard, and yeah, the companion guards go to the temple, right? Hang on, let me double check that that's the right one. Companion guards, right? Temple of Hextor. Let's see. Elite warriors, human members of the companion guard, and some of Ivid's advisors. Patriarch General Prindan, yep, is the Patriarch General. Yes, the many provinces, yeah. Patriarch General, upheld by them. Yeah. Yeah, the Patriarch General was allowed to keep operating. Devout believers, or at least devout enough to go to the temple, which, you know. Boom. Source book. Ivid. Where's Hextor? We're around that. What page? 30. Okay. Yeah, stupid phone calls in between times. I get that. Basically, I'm adding that they said if Ballsy was basically attacks pretty much any other worship out of existence. I'm saying the only faith that found a workaround is Hextor, and I'm purposely saying workaround because I don't know if it was just kind of exempt because it's Hextor and it's been the religion for centuries, and all of the high priests are basically civil like administration, like church and state were like that before Ballsy was introduced. So I don't know if Hextor was allowed to stay even when after Ballsy was introduced because of that, or whether they just were all they paid the tax, and because they had so many wealthy, powerful members that they were able to pay the tax and not worry about it. I don't know which is true, but I know that they did coexist, and that the temples Hextor and Ballsy were both on the palace grounds at the same time. Fun fact. I'm going to put that up in the earlier one. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that was a workaround or an exemption, or if it was. So I'm just putting that they found a workaround, and whether that was not paying or lying about paying or because we're just paying it off, I don't know. But there we go. What about believers? Because the temple was because they used the temple on the grounds. I'll mention the blood shield. I'm gonna put that the temple was on the palace grounds. I'm gonna put that in the because on the palace grounds. I'm gonna put it in the cityscape section. But notes about worship of Hextor. Worship Hextor. Yep. Okay. Cited that one. Believers. Yep. And the Patriarch General. I think that's it. Boom. Okay. So that was a note about that with Ballsy, somewhat contrary to impression. Temple of Bacab, and then there's Zilchus, and yes. Yes, and I think what we're gonna publish changes first, and then what we're gonna, assuming this will go through and not stall out with the connection or something like that, pretty please. Then our plan is to go. Yes. Regime. Zilchus. Starman, which is that. We have the Hextor. Hextor. Yep. Okay. So notable individuals. Red Death. Temple of Ballsy. Yes. The Temple of... Oh, there's going to be another ad break. Okay, the Temple... So I'm going to put that the Temple of Hextor was also there, and the Office of the Patriarch General, because I feel like that's more of a cityscape thing rather than sort of a religious thing. It's... Yeah... Inside... Because it is also inside the walls of the palace compound, which I think is interesting. Let's see. The... Yep. We're going to add some of these other cityscape ones too, because there's a whole list. Cityscape's going to get bigger because there's a whole list of other on here of, if we look here, there's an entire list of buildings that are that all have little lore bits, and I'm putting the lore tidbits in other places, and that. So yay. Blue. Okay, there's going to be an ad break in like soon. It just says so. A few seconds. I think I'm good though. Actually, maybe I should put this here. When the ad starts, I'm gonna run and do that, and we will. I'm gonna do that when the ad starts, and I will put Addy up, and yep. So let's do this and keep an eye here, and um, also within the palace compound. Yep. Okay, let me... Bob. Alright. Oh! Oh! Hello. Mm. 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back on in. We're back to editing Roxas and the temple. Let's see. It's also within the palace compound too, right? Yep. Also in the main palace grounds. Chambers here. Okay. So we're gonna put the ooh. That's okay. Ooh, that is super cool. Also, and badass. Yeah, I'm completely worth doing. I usually pop out during the ads anyway. Show a picture of Addie because she's cute. And I guess that makes for a nice little bonus for the subscribers. But, you know, you didn't miss any editing or anything. I try to map it that way just because, I feel like it's a good compromise. The thing about ads is that I have fewer, shorter ones spaced more out now, but the problem with that is it doesn't turn off the pre-roll, completely, which is frustrating, but, or it does for a little while, but the more ads and closer together, the longer the ads you show, the longer the pre-roll is gone for, and it's all sorts of, you know, but I need to figure out a better, I keep saying I'm going to do that, but the temple to Hextor, is the temple to Hextor. We capitalize, of Hextor, which, had the, yeah, you know what, we're gonna have two links down. One each section, which had which contained the offices of Patriarch, Patriarch General, let's Patriarch General. What is the specific name? Pyrandan. Pyrandan, who almost certainly, hopefully has that. Let me do this. I'm gonna put this here, and then make sure we're spelling the name right. Pyran, two N's, Den. Yep. And then we're gonna go. Flip, because I feel like that's how it's gonna be. The unholy and the priceless relic. Known as the what is the unholy? What's it? Unholy. Ooh. Flesh Guardian. Ooh, okay. Coagulated blood golems. That's kind of cool, actually. Unholy blood shield. Unholy blood shield. I'm blood shield. Blood. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I'm putting it back together. Cause yeah, how to make sure you spell agglutinative words right is, okay. It isn't capitalized in the book, which so we're not gonna capitalize it. Unholy blood shield. Knights of Doom, Crypt Towers of the Dead, Temple of the Cobb. There's other stuff in here too. A notable feature. Notable. Actually, since this is where we put the architecture stuff, notable feature. Yeah. A notable feature of this temple was the 4 temple guardian statues made of coagulated blood, which is kind of cool. Coagulated blood, which worked similarly. Which I'm trying to figure out how to add. They have the same statistics. All practical purposes. Were stone golems, just with blood instead of stone. Yeah, stone golems with blood instead of stone, because they use the stone golem stats. Statistic flesh golems. Which for all practical purposes were just flesh golems made of blood. Flesh golems. Okay, makes sense. Golems. Yeah, they use the stats as flesh golems. I don't know if... Nope. How do you spell golem? That is a hard word. Flesh. Goal. EMS. Alright, well, just flesh golems. Alright, with the same stats. I think flesh golems should have... That is definitely a thing, and we're gonna put that in. And if it's not in there, we'll have to go look at the monster manual and see if I have anything in there on that. That may or may not be a thing for later, but we're gonna leave the link in any case. No, that is there. World map, cityscape. Okay. Okay. And we add our citation in here. Cite our source books. Ivid 30, I believe. We're still on page 30. We're still on page 30. Okay. Actually, so should we add the architectural details of the Temple of Ballsy? That's the... You know what? I think that'd be cool. The building. Actually. Okay. Is richly ornamented with much gold, silver, and fine woods. A great stained glass window. Building is I want to see if that link works. Does that link work? If so, we're gonna have to investigate that in a minute. I just want to check. It does. Interesting. Let's see. Office, can you also pay direct chat? Right. Is richly Um, um, uh, okay, yep. Boom. Temple of Ballsy, yes. The building itself, which was commissioned by Ivid, the 5th. Featured ornamentation. In gold and silver. Gold, silver, and fine woods. Ornamentation. Which also which also included a large stained glass window, ballsy in the form what did they look like? Okay. Grinning rich-faced man before a huge meal. I mean, that's one way to predict the god of prosperity, I suppose, of a huge meal. Actually, we can just... I mean, I think that's the pretty much... Hang on. Pretty much word for word, we could give it a quote. Grinning, richly dressed man in front of you before a huge meal. Alright. I mean, that's pretty much word for word. So might as well... Control C, I believe is the one. Yep, that's the one. That's the one. Richly dressed. I guess richly dressed is... Richly dressed. Oh, no, there is a thing. Richly dressed. Yes. Grinning. Okay, yes. Richly dressed man for a huge meal. Okay. Source book. Vivid. 29. I think, yeah, because we're doing the direct quote, I think that should be enough citation for, commissioned, commissioned, not commissioner, commissioned by David V. I'm going to put the, because that's the direct quote, but this also comes from that. I'm going to cite source book. I'm gonna cite it twice. David 29. Yep. And then this from page 29 of Ibid, and then the quote is also from page 29 of Ibid, and that's why is that like that? Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll cite it twice. So the palace compound is Temple of Hextor, which comes from page 30. Okay. Okay, I think do we added notes about the Temple of and Ballsy. Publish changes. Yes. Boom. Okay, so we got that going. Now, where does this link lead? Oh, it just leads to Balls of Fun. Oh, okay, it's a redirect to the same demon. Yes, fiendish-looking woman. Least talk of Dark 8. History, Neelix Overkings.